Welcome to the Worldwide Luxury Home Podcast, sponsored by www.buyahomeglobal.com. I am your host, James Dewar, a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices here in beautiful San Antonio, Texas. And with me is Josh Ledesma, my co-host.
Good morning, James. Thanks for having me again.
And Josh is what we call, and all of us at Berkshire Hathaway is what we call forever agents. So, Josh, what is a forever agent with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices?
Well, thank you for asking, James. I much appreciate that. Being a forever agent means that I've taken the pledge to provide invaluable service and to my clients based upon some of the pillars of core values of Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, such as trust, integrity, stability, and longevity. And I vow to give that service to my clients all the time, not just when they buy or sell a home. It's important to me that my clients know that I'm their agent outside of the transaction. It's very relationship focused, and I intend to see that through and make sure that I'm available for my clients forever.
Great. And that's kind of what distinguishes us from other brokerages that we're just not engaged with our clients during the transaction. Whatever real estate questions they have throughout their life, we're their forever agent. So each week, the Worldwide Luxury Home Podcast will take our listeners to a new city across the United States and across the world, and where we'll talk about lifestyle and dining and activities and luxury homes. So today we're fortunate to have an award-winning Berkshire Hathaway agent, Scott Blackwood, out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Welcome, Scott.
Well, thank you, James, for letting me be here. I'm excited to share my area with everybody.
Thanks for being with us, Scott. We appreciate you taking the time out of your morning.
And before we start talking about the lifestyles of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, tell us a little bit about your background and about why somebody would want to use Scott Blackwood for their agent in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and throughout the whole region.
Absolutely. So a little bit about me. I grew up in a military family, so I moved around quite a bit. Actually lived in San Antonio for 5 years growing up. And so did high school in Virginia Beach, and then got my degree from University of South Carolina in real estate finance. I came to Wyoming right after I graduated and worked on a ranch called A-Bar-A. Did that for a summer and then came up to ski for a winter at Jackson Hole. And that's when I got my real estate license. So I've been licensed a little over 10 years and helped run a small boutique office for a few years and joined Berkshire about 5 years ago. I'm now the responsible broker and one of the owners of the firms here. On top of that, I'm the president of our local board. And so I'm very involved within the community and the real estate community.
Great. So you know everything that's going on there in the community.
Yes. Try to.
Scott, you said something there just a second ago. You run the boutique brokerage. What does that mean? What does that mean to be a boutique brokerage?
So the boutique brokerage that I was with, we were an art gallery and a real estate firm. And so we dealt with high-end art and high-end residential real estate for the most part. So it was either people coming in looking for art, and we were able to convert them to buy a home, or if we sold them a home, we were able to outfit their house with high-end art as well.
That sounds fantastic. I bet you got to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different parts of the country, maybe even the world.
Absolutely. All over the world, yes.
That's fantastic. Do you have any cool stories about art or anything cool like, this one time, anything crazy like that?
Not really. I didn't really have a background in art. And so it was a big learning curve to kind of learn what people liked. And it was more of learning people's mentality more than the art of it didn't really matter the background of the art as long as it spoke to a single client, which I think is also the same in a home as well. So each home is completely different, whether it's up on the mountain or on water, river frontage. Each home speaks to a client as well.
Well, Josh is going to ask you some questions, but before we get to that, tell us about that photo behind you, which is artwork.
So this one right behind me, it's actually not. It's a little bit further north. I believe it's up in Montana is where this one's taken. But if you get up to a high mountain lake and anywhere in my area, this would be the view that you see.
Amazing.
Kind of surrounded by the best ski resort in North America. This year we had over almost 600 inches of snow by the time the mountain closed. Like I said, the best skiing, snowboarding in North America.
Yeah. And I think you have like 3 resorts up in that area, don't you?
Correct. So Jackson Hole Mountain Resort is our main one. Our town hill is called Snow King, which is 3 blocks away from downtown.
Wow.
And then we also have Grand Tarhee, which is located, but as the crow flies, about 15 miles, but you have to drive all the way to Victor and then Driggs to access it into Alta, Wyoming.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Very picturesque. I'm envisioning it in my head. What can you tell us about the lifestyles of Jackson Hole and why someone would want to own a primary residence, a second home, or a luxury property in your neck of the woods?
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you've ever been to Jackson, the beauty of the area is second to none. We're a very flat valley with big mountains, accessible, great parking, access, hiking trails, some of the best fishing within 2 hours, definitely the best fishing in the country. Whether it's the Snake River that runs right through Jackson Hole in the town, or just kind of some of the smaller rivers around. The hunting is world-class, skiing's world-class, snowmobiling, whitewater rafting, kind of wakeboarding or any kind of water sport. So pretty much anything you want to do outdoors, Jackson has something to offer.
Yeah, I've been up there and I love the national parks. We've taken our kids to every national park there is, basically, really west of the Mississippi. And we've gone to Grand Tetons, we've gone to Yellowstone, we've done all that, and I cannot imagine living in Jackson and be able to have a short drive to those amazing natural assets.
Right. Kind of one of the sayings is you come for the winters and you stay for the summers. The winters are spectacular here, but living all over the country, I haven't found a place that summers beat this place. We are about 10 miles south of Grand Teton National Park. Wow. And about 60 miles south of Yellowstone. So we are one of the main gateway communities, which allows us to have some of the best food in the area, great music, live entertainment, and yeah, just overall, just a good downtown feel. And then on the tourism's our main industry. They say we have 300,000 to 400,000 visitors in the winter and 3 to 4 million in the summer. So it's really a booming town in the summer.
Yeah. Well, speaking of dining, tell us a little bit about the dining scene there in Jackson.
So yeah, we have, probably some of the best restaurants in the country, because of our clientele. So very high-end steakhouses, Italian restaurants, arguably one of the best sushi restaurants in the West, which is unheard of and kind of surprising. But not only the music or the food, but we have the music to go with it. We get to bring in a lot of good music throughout the area.
Is it mainly country or just all types of music?
All types of music.
Wow.
That sounds great. And you mentioned some of those world-class, amenities like skiing and fishing and stuff like that. But Scott, where would we find you on like a Saturday afternoon? What kind of things do you enjoy doing in the area?
This Saturday the lake finally thawed off, so there's no more ice on the lake. Me and my friends are going to go take the boat out and go fishing for the weekend.
Wow.
So you said world-class fishing. Is that in the lakes up there or the rivers or?
Both. World-class fly fishing, and then the lake fishing is something that a lot of people don't get to to do because it does require a boat, and there's not really any place to rent boats here. So you have to have good friends with boats.
Oh, there you go. So are you the good friend? Did you have the boat or your friend has the boat? I
We
forgot.
we split it.
Okay. Oh, do
It
you?
floats most of the time.
Okay, cool, cool. Well, tell us about the homes. We've been looking at Ponderosa Court. So tell us about the luxury homes there in Jackson. And let me get this cleared up. Josh and I are having a discussion about does everybody refer to the area as Jackson Hole or as Jackson, Wyoming?
So the town is Jackson, Wyoming.
Right.
The greater area is Jackson Hole. So if you're talking to most people out of the area, I say Jackson Hole just because it's more recognizable. But the town itself is actually Jackson Hole.
Okay, great. Well, tell us about the Ponderosa Court, where there's an amazing house you have listed right now. Can you tell us a little bit about that house?
Yeah, so that's not the one I'm going to showcase in here, but that one's amazing. That one's up in Du Bois,
Okay.
Wyoming. So that's about 2 hours north of me, in a different county, but it's also another gateway community, Yellowstone. The one I'm going to talk about today is actually here in Jackson,
Okay.
and it's on Alderwood, which is Teton Pines, which is a golf course.
Okay.
And this is a cluster home right on the golf course. It has 5 bedrooms, a little, or almost 3,800 square feet. And it's right on one of the best golf courses in the area, with amenities, clubhouse. That one is also about 5 miles south of the ski resort, Jackson Hole Mountain Ski Resort.
Mm-hmm.
So just absolutely beautiful home. And it's listed right now at right under $6 million. And it's listed with one of my partners, Tim and Kurt Harland.
So you said the ice just melted on the lake. What about the golf season? When does that start?
The golf season started this past weekend. They finally got the greens ready, and so I had a friend that played 36 holes this past weekend.
You did?
No, my friend did.
Your friend did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
do you play golf too?
I do play golf. I like to do everything out here, from whitewater rafting to golfing, fishing, hunting, biking. So it's my turn.
How could you not, right? I mean,
and you got the life up there in Jackson,
yes, sir.
Wyoming. So, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything more about that luxury home that you're in the Teton Pines, right?
Teton Pines, yes. It's actually in the town Wilson.
Okay.
And it's just beautifully done, floor to ceiling windows, looking over the golf course, just nice finishes overall.
Okay. Tell me about, do a lot of people live year round there now that they've discovered everything to do in the summers, or is it mainly a winter resort, or how do people live there?
You know what? For the most part, we do have a lot of second homes that live here either 2 weeks or 6 months out of the year. One good thing about Wyoming is we are one of the top 5 friendliest states for taxes. So a lot of people call Jackson home for that purposes. We deal with a lot of wealth in this county. And so most of our homes are considered luxury in the market. So that's a huge driver for our real estate, is the tax advantages.
Yeah. And if you're going to be buying an investment property or a vacation home in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, then you want that property tax to be low. So
Correct.
It makes sense for residents, and it makes sense for out-of-state people who want to buy a home.
Right. Well, and also not only property tax, but we have no state income tax.
There you go.
We have no inheritance tax, no state gift tax. So it's truly one of the best tax-friendly states in the country.
Wow. Okay. Well, Scott Blackwood with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, thank you so much for being here today. And Josh, thank you for co-hosting. And if you'd
Yeah,
like
thank
to,
you for having me.
yeah. If our listeners would like to reach out to Scott, I mean, I can't believe somebody not wanting to live in Jackson Hole with all the activities there are and with the friendly tax situation you have there. So important these days. So if you're interested in visiting with Scott, in buying or selling a house or a second house or a third house in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, go to buyahomeglobal.com and we'll make an introduction to Scott. And we'd like to thank you for being here, Scott, today. Thank you, Josh, for being here. And stay tuned to our next podcast. We're going to be visiting Nashville, Tennessee, Honolulu, Hawaii, and Austin, Texas, just to name a few of the cities. So we're going to see you at our next podcast. And this is the Worldwide Luxury Home Podcast.
Thank you.